people are anxious. There's a frustration. There's an anxiety on the inside. People are anxious for what? To improve themselves. So what happens? We just keep going around the same mountain, right? We therefore remain bound. We just have the same experience, the same problems we had 10 years ago, we're still having today. But not after today. Not after this session, right? We are all take action. Come on, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to take action and we are going to work on ourselves and take responsibility for our own leadership. Can we do that? My dream is to help you live yours. And I do that by assessing and training and equipping and developing your teams so you don't have to.
Hey, Drew here with Influence Trainer, and we're going live, trying out some new technology and having a blast doing it. Hey, we're talking about adapting, changing, and growing, and we're modeling it right here. I'm excited about the interview we have today with Master Coach Raj Tedla, and really someone who has a lot of experience working with small business owners and helping them get the results they desire for their organization. And we were having a conversation the other day about the process of helping his clients at this time, and what he's running into and how he's bringing them into a place where they can thrive. And the first step is really getting that mindset right. And I found the same thing talking to many of my clients, the mindset piece, going through the challenges of rapid change, of quarantine, of being home. Your mindset, it starts to mess with your mindset, and you need to do a mindset reset. You need to get focused. You need to get your mindset right. And so that's what we're going to be talking about, adapting, growing, and changing your mindset so that you can grow your business. So with that, I'm going to bring in Raj, and let's give this a shot. All right, here we go. Raj, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Fantastic, fantastic. How you doing today?
I am doing very well. How are you?
Doing great. So excited to have you, and glad that you could share with us what you're learning, what you're showing your clients, and how you're helping them. And so tell us, what is that first step you shared with me? What are you teaching your clients right now, small business owners, to help them really thrive through these challenging times that we find ourselves in?
So the first piece of it I would go back and talk about is, if you look at the whole COVID-19 situation. Now we are almost like 6 to 7 weeks into it. Some people say 8 weeks, some people say 6 weeks, depending on who you hear.
Yeah.
Discussing about the COVID-19 should be behind the scene right now as a business owner, as an individual. Right now is the time for us to go back and say, this is a reality, we need to adapt. And what does that mean? Basically, how do we look at it from your individual perspective and from a business perspective, what has changed? That is the biggest piece of it from an adaptation perspective.
Okay.
And whenever you have a situation like that, the mindset is very, very important. And it reminds me of Jim Collins in his book, Great by Choice. He talks about whenever there is a major event, there are three things that would happen. Basically, there are some companies or some people who really pull ahead. 20 to 30% of them look at this, take it as an advantage, understand the situation, adapt to it, really go back and change and grow. That is 20 to 30%. It can be people, it can be individual. Then you have the second category of people, almost like 40 to 50% of the people, where they almost like to slow down. They freeze, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
They go back and say, hey, I'm going to be risk averse. I'm going to go back and limit it and stuff. And for them, they are going to fall behind.
Okay.
And there are some people, they will go back and say, you know what, I'll wait until the whole thing happens and I'll continue what I'm doing. They don't want to change.
Yeah.
They don't want to adapt to the situation. And those are the kind of people or companies. If it is the individual, very, very tough time to get back into the workforce or whatever careers they have. Or if it is a company, it might be bankrupt. So I just want to give that premise piece of it, of what I heard and what I looked at it and what I've been talking to people as well.
Yeah, and it's reminiscent of the fight, flight, or freeze, that we as humans have. We fall into those three categories. I saw a statistic through Harvard Business Review that said 85% of market leaders in a recession, which that's what it looks like we're heading into, 2 down quarters.
Yes.
85% of market leaders get dislodged during a recession. So I've been telling my clients there is tremendous opportunity out here. If you're not the market leader, to rise up to that position. If you are the market leader, don't get comfortable, right?
Exactly.
That's great. That's great. Well, fantastic. Keep going. Share with us kind of this process that you're bringing your clients through.
So if you go back and talk about the adaptation piece of it, right? One of the biggest pieces of it is how are you looking at this situation and a problem piece of it. And for that, the biggest piece of it is starting with your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people go back and look at it from the surface level of a situation. What I mean is, hey, what were the actions I was taking before and what do I need to change in the actions?
Okay.
So if there is a salesperson making 10 calls, now I need to work hard and make 12 calls.
Yeah.
I need to work hard and make 14 calls. But in a fundamentally change kind of things that's happening today, you need to evaluate first and change and adapt before you go back and put the hard work into it.
Okay.
So the belief system and the assumptions is what, which is at a much deeper level, we need to start looking at it.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a simple example because a lot of businesses are small business. I'll give you a simple example.
Okay. Yeah.
Let us say I'm a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
And this really happened to me in my incident, so I'm sharing that firsthand.
Yeah.
So I needed something in my a shower door to be replaced. So this guy has been in business for 25 years, very good experience, everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So he came in, he looks at me and he says, "So this is a quote, I need you to give me 50% advance." And I said, "I'm very comfortable giving you the 50% advance.
Mm-hmm.
But can you please confirm when will I get it? With everything uncertain, I really want to know what time."
Yeah.
So he called up and said, "Sir, basically they said anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks."
Okay.
And I said, "Hey, I really can't wait for 4 weeks."
Yeah. You got to take a shower.
Yes. So I told him, what I told him was, "Hey, there is a wonderful shower door, a good branded company, which I'm very comfortable with the quality and stuff in the local Home Depot stores. Can you go pick it up? If you want, I'll pay for it. You just need to pick it up and install it.
Okay.
And basically, I'll pay you the labor or whatever it is." He said, "Sir, I've been doing this business for 25 years. I'm not doing it."
Mm.
And he said, "I don't believe in the quality of it." I said, "I am the customer. I'm the one I'm telling. I will buy it. You don't need to worry. I'm asking you to do the labor."
Yeah.
And he would not do it.
Wow.
So that is a piece of it. He's a very, very good plumber, but he has lost an opportunity to become my customer. And now I have 3 other plumbing projects coming up, and he would not be a choice of me talking to him.
Yeah, and that's all because of a fixed mindset. His
Exactly.
mind is fixed. He has a way of doing things, and it's great. Processes are great. Procedures and getting very efficient is fantastic. We need to do that. But we are in a time of disruption. We're in a time of rapid change. And if look at our industry, if we don't modify to web-based, I look at a company that someone I am very close to works for, and they aren't looking to go back to the office for a few more months. Even after Texas is very aggressive in opening back up, they can function just fine from home. So look at me as a trainer in my business. If I say, well, as soon as everybody goes back to the office, I'll kick off training again. Well, I'm going to miss the boat. I'm going to be like that person that watches it pass by me, right?
Exactly. And Drew, that is so true for every single opportunity.
Absolutely.
I'll give you one other. Basically, a company which is a bakery kind of bakery goods through commercial. So their whole business model was business to business. Mm-hmm. So they would supply to other big stores and people would buy it. There are some who are buying, there are some who are not, and there is all over the place right now.
Yeah.
So basically, it took a big toll on her sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say almost 7 weeks ago, she was so scared when we had the first discussion and said, "Raj, I might have to go and declare bankruptcy.
Wow.
If I don't get this." Then I said, "Okay, we will go work on that. The legal people, it takes time. But let us look at it from a strategy perspective. Again, what were her belief systems and what were her assumptions?" Mm-hmm. She has been in business. This is a company which has been in business since 1995, 96.
Oh, wow.
And I said, what was the core thing for it?
Yeah.
Basically, people like my bread because they know it is baked locally and is fresh.
Yeah.
and you are taking the stores to go back and look at it. And what else do you need? And I said, let us go back and look at what are the different ways of doing it. So still, she's going to be in the same area supplying to the local area because she's not interested in expanding. And I said, how can we go directly to the consumer now? Because the consumer still wants to eat bread. They can't come out. So we took the business to business model to business to consumer. We got a customer and we got a vendor who can work with them real fast. And to tell you, in less than 8 to 10 days, we had the e-commerce portal, website, everything, ordering system ready to go, and email started.
Yeah.
And now, basically, she was having one van, which she was very barely keeping busy. And yesterday I spoke to her and I said, hey, congratulations, you got your second van. And said, so Raj, I'm already so busy with the second van and the routes, I need to think of a third van shortly.
Wow.
Delivery.
What a shift. What a change. And that's what we're talking about with the idea of adapting, changing, growing your business. There are opportunities to grow your business during this time. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, working with him, doing some coaching with him in his organization. He's in the HVAC category. And he had an idea, right? Through coaching, right? Through having these conversations and bringing awareness with our clients. He had an idea about doing some clean air opportunities. And so we put together this whole program of going back to the people that they've installed units for over the past year, checking in on them, making sure the unit is running well, and then offering this program or this system that can bolt on to their new HVAC unit that they purchased earlier in the year that will purify 99 point whatever % of their air quality. Who doesn't want that, right? Who doesn't want to get that? That's the kind of thinking and the adapting instead of doing what you've always done and just doubling down on a strategy that may or may not work right now. You got to change. You got to adapt.
Very, very true. Similar to this, I was talking to one of my customer who is a very good customer of mine for the past 4 or 5 years. We were talking about it, and a few weeks ago, he said, Raj, for this rest of the year, we are planning not to do any more training. You know, whenever there is a financial constraint or recession, training and development stops.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, it's going to be very expensive because I have done a lot of training for their international.
Okay.
This is a company which has its presence in over 22 different countries.
Yeah.
And last week, I was going back and looking at my assumptions. And based on that, I came up with a plan to talk to their senior VP. And we had a good discussion about the assumption piece of it.
Okay.
So after the whole session, in less than 45 minutes, maybe an hour, guess what? I am going to be training 40 of their senior leaders across the globe.
Wow.
Completely different approach and stuff. And they never even thought of it, but they were very, very open to challenging their beliefs and assumptions.
Yeah.
So we are starting next week and working with, and all the 40 people, whatever the leadership training we wanted to give them, all of that is happening. Yes, it is a different means and a different things. We are going and doing it.
Yeah.
And they thought that it would not be effective. And frankly speaking, I thought I could never do it on Zoom rather than being in person.
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm so used to doing in person. But I spent considerable time to make it much more effective on a Zoom call. So I had redesigned my whole training program.
Yeah.
So just going back to the assumptions piece, if you can really start looking at things differently, then what happens is you're with ideas. So the biggest part you need to do is start replacing your negative ideas with some positive ideas and with a lot of gratitude.
Yeah.
So once you start thinking about your gratitude piece of it, it gives you the confidence and it gives you a good feeling that, hey, we have done so many successful things in life. We too can overcome this. That is a starting point. And then you start focusing on the positive side of it and say, what can I do differently? That is the assumption space of it, right? How you're challenging your assumptions.
Yeah.
Then brain starts working very well. And the unique thing about a brain is when you are under negative influence and when you are frozen, the activity in the brain is very, very slow or to the minimum. But as soon as you go back and put a gratitude piece of it and say, what can I do differently? The brain gets start working again, and it has a lot of activity, which is an indication that something is going to come out of it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Let me toss this in there too. I don't, I'll be a little vulnerable and share. I learned something about myself during this whole time as well. I had an opportunity to potentially work with a marketing company. You know this, Raj. And I don't think I shared with you. I had a couple questions I wanted to ask. I got some advice from you, but I had some questions I wanted to ask them. Sent the questions, and at the end of the day, they would not send me references to show me that they could do what they've done what they're telling me they could do, right? And they just ghosted me. They didn't respond to the email. And so that was very telling. And so I'm grateful that I didn't waste my money working with this organization. But after that, there's a dip, right? So in my mind, I'll give you my mindset and my thinking. I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to work with this marketing company. They're going to help me in this area so that I can do what I do, right? I can do coaching, I can do speaking, I can do training. They're going to do this marketing piece of it, and it's going to solve a problem, and we're going to experience success, right? So I paint this picture in my mind. Well, then that thing is completely shut down. And so there's this dip. There's, dang, it's not going to work out. And I found myself, as I was kind of going through times of reflection, I was reflecting out and away from my current situation and fantasizing about a better situation, a different situation. Man, what if I was doing this? And I was talking to a client, and I found that so I went through this whole reflection process and realized, wow, I've done that in life before. When I hit a challenging time, I almost stopped focusing on the challenge that was in front of me and started fantasizing about new opportunities that could be out and away. And so I had to just really reset my mind. Well, I'm glad I had that opportunity with myself, because a couple of days later, I was having a coaching session with a client, and he's talking about starting some new business that is not in his wheelhouse. It's not something that he has any experience with, and it's all about escaping the problems that he's facing in his business currently. And so we talk about mindsets, right? We talk about, I don't know if you've experienced that, or I know you're not a psychologist, you can't tell me what's wrong with me, but but I thought that was a great awareness. There might be some people out there that they've hit a wall, and they're thinking about, man, maybe I just need to go and do this, or maybe if I just worked for someone else, right? The entrepreneur, if I just worked for someone else, yeah, right. When you start working for someone else, about a year into it, you're gonna be looking to get out. But it's always the greener pastures thing. I don't know. That I want to share that with everybody and see if you had ever experienced that, Raj.
But Drew, that is very, very true. And that reminds me of a few things from my experience and working with the clients. So we were talking about some of the companies which freeze or don't take action and they lose out. That is when people are in there for lack of a passion, but they see an opportunity and they want to make money.
Yeah.
See, there are a lot of businesses which go back and they want to make money. I understand every single business wants to make money. But is it coupled only with money or with passion and money? And that is what you're talking about, is the passion piece of it.
Yeah.
If you have the passion and you can go back and look at it, it works.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things which even, like, I'm a big fan of Angela Duckworth and her book, Grit. That's a fantastic. And this is a situation where you need a lot of grit.
Yeah.
And one of the things she talks about is you have talent, which I go back and say is basically a passion also. Talent is a natural skill. A passion is something close to that. When you have that passion piece of it and you have the talent piece of it, the next step really is times the effort you put into that. So once you have the passion, you have the talent, you put the effort, what does it become? It becomes an outstanding skill for you.
Wow.
And that skill piece of it will help you to keep going and moving forward, at least in the direction you want to go. You might not have a specific goal, but you need to determine the direction where you want to take a business. And that skill helps. Now you take the skill, and since you have the passion and stuff, you will go back and put more effort into that. And that will translate into success or achievement or whatever adjective you want to give, but it
Yeah.
is going to help you to that. And that is the way she talks about grit and the effort.
So let me ask you this, Raj. With that equation in mind, what if this is a moment for some business owner out there? They say, I just don't have a passion for this. I wasn't interested. Would you do you think they should go ahead and maybe make a transition? And this is a good opportunity for them to transition out of their business and find their next move. What would you say to that?
So here, basically, that's a very, very good, interesting question. I can give you what I would feel from my side. It is a great opportunity for them to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Can they go back and take the direction of their business to something is much more feasible and that they're passionate about?
Yeah.
If the combination of it's there, then go with it.
Yeah.
If it is not a passion of yours and there is not a growth, the probability of you coming out of it successfully is very, very small.
Okay.
Because whatever business is going to be successful out of the post-COVID, it requires extra effort, time, energy, and passion. All of that are required.
Yeah.
Because the new normal is going to be very different.
Yeah. So what about, how would you, as a coach, maybe what questions would you encourage your clients to reflect upon if they find themselves in a situation where they're not doing, because of the changes, they're not doing what they love to do, and they have to do things that they have to do. Let me give you an example. There's a contractor that lives around me that my friend told me this story. It's his neighbor. He's delivering pizzas right now. He's a contractor, right? He builds homes. He does handyman work. He does these things, but he's delivering pizzas right now so that he can make it through this time and then continue to, run his business on the other side of it. That's probably not something that he wants to be doing every day, right? It's what he has to do to make it through this time so that he can continue to pursue his dream. How would you help people differentiate between I need to make a pivot because I'm not doing what I'm passionate about right now, right? I'm delivering pizzas, or I need to actually completely change and shift and do something different. How would you what questions would you ask to help someone gain clarity on what camp they're in? Are they just doing what they have to do right now, or are they actually needing to make a fundamental change in their business?
So one of the biggest thing I would go back and ask in this specific situation for this person, which is more painful, delivering pizzas or trying to find a construction? If you look at it, 60 to 70% of construction is still going on. They still need basically skilled people.
Mm-hmm.
So you delivering pizzas versus working for somebody in the construction industry, which is a skill you're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
That is the first question they need to make.
Okay.
The second question is, maybe the opportunity is not available where you are living, but you need to go 50 miles or 200 miles to a different city and work.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to do that until things come back to where they are, and then you find a new normal for you, which is working?
Okay.
So that becomes, I call it the vision question, is basically, are you clear about where you want to go today based on the situation now in the post?
That's good.
And is it aligned with your personal vision and with your long-term goals? I want to look at it, your personal vision, your business vision, and short-term and long-term. Those are the 4 different quadrants or lenses I would put that together.
Gotcha.
So if I don't know this person, but if I was in position, I would any day like to work in my field, which is the construction piece of it, rather than delivering pizzas.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying it is good or bad. I'm saying I'm not passionate about it.
Yeah. Okay. So great question from Gary on here, business owner in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he says, I like what you're saying. What comes to mind is, can you restart the passion that drove you in the beginning? Can you restart that passion, Raj?
Definitely you can go back and restart. Number one is reflection. And then what I would do is, if you are one person or a business, let us assume you're a business of 2 or 3 people. And it can be one person also. It doesn't matter. I prefer it to be done with at least 2 or 3 people because there is some interchangeable piece of it.
Okay.
And to Gary's question, I don't know if he's an individual. If he's an individual, get somebody like a trusted coach or an advisor.
Okay.
to see if they can work with him. And these are the 7 goals I would really want them to think about
Okay.
from
Yeah.
it.
Lay them out.
Is the vision alignment. What is the vision did you start initially? Where are you today? And with everything you know today, where would you like to be on a personal side and on a business side? That is the first question they need to go back and look at it.
Okay.
The second piece of it is this the right time for me to go back and restart, pivot, change my vision, realign with, is this the right time?
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever you do right now, it might be the right time.
Yeah.
For some, it is the fantastic time to change and pivot. Like you said, hey, if I'm not passionate about, there is an opportunity, I can pivot.
Yeah.
So that is very, very critical there. The second part of it. And the third part of it is, what are some of the questions for you from a future perspective?
Mm-hmm.
So when I say future, I'm talking at least 1 year and 3 years.
Yeah.
Two different perspectives. 1 year, most of the time you're coming out of a challenge, it'll be almost like a tough going for the next 6 months to 12 months, whatever you do because of what we unknown.
Yeah.
But what is that it's going to look like at 3 years?
Yeah.
At least the 3 years piece of it, beyond the 1 year. Is it exciting for you to go back? Remember, I was talking to you about the equation.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary should be looking at his skills and his effort to see if the achievement will be there at least the year 2, year 3.
Yeah.
And are you being bold enough to go back and have the grit at this time? So now all of that was planning, right?
Yeah.
All planning is great, but the real thing comes is when the rubber meets the road,
Yeah.
execution.
Yeah.
Yes. And the fifth piece I always tell people is some people might not have different stakeholders, but everybody, generally, you have a family, you have friends, you have significant other children's, or if you are a business, you have investors, stakeholders, employees.
Okay.
You need to start looking at it from all of those people and see if everybody has the buy-in, because you need a support structure when you are in a tough situation.
Yeah.
So I will go back and look at the people and say, do you have a strong support structure around you?
Yeah. It's
And
huge.
are they buying in as well? And then the sixth part of it is put some short-term metrics and really, really monitor that. You want some metrics to monitor your progress. So here I would not focus on goals. I would focus on direction,
Okay.
because we don't know the goals yet.
Yeah.
And last but the least is constantly communicating with your key stakeholders, 1 or 2 key people. If nothing else, you're by yourself, communicating to yourself, is this really working? Are you having a feeling of gratitude? Are you really reflecting? Are you really learning? And are you doing what I call this is fail forward? You can fail in whatever you're trying to accomplish, but you need to learn and you're moving in the direction you go.
Wow.
So that is the way I look at it. And these 7 steps for somebody like Gary or anybody else, if they start working towards, it will at least go back and give them the clarity of that goal or the direction where they need to be in the 1 year, in the 3 years.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And we talked about that before in another video, the idea of this is the time to look at your vision. This is the time to really dig deep and remember your dream, right? And connect with that initial passion, because a lot of the same things that you did to start your business, you're probably gonna have to go back and do again. We were just in a time of fat, where we could buy extra things and not, have softwares or different things that we had that were just overhead, that were fat. And now we have to go back and we have to cut the fat and we have to go back to those things. What are those things that built the business, and how can we either reinstitute them, re-implement them, or modify them for the current situation that we find ourselves in? And I think I can speak for many entrepreneurs that you say, when you hear that, you say, my goodness, do I want to do this all over again? Right? That's part of the struggle with that mindset is, do I want to do this all over again? Do I want to start it up again and get that engine? I know what it takes to push the boulder up the mountain, and we were already rolling and now I got to push the boulder up the mountain again. Do I want to do that? And that's why it's so important to reconnect with that vision, reconnect with that initial desire. Go back, look at your skills, your strengths, your abilities, your passions, your why. Connect with your why and what you were put on planet Earth to do. And that's going to help you find that motivation and that energy to say, hey, and get your mindset right. We're talking about mindset here. Get your mindset to the place where you can get out here and just remember everybody out there, every small business owner out there, every sales professional that, last month you just feel like, man, this has been horrible. Well, don't sit at the house. Don't wait for this to pass, because this thing will pass you by. And I was talking to a sales team in a huge international organization, and the idea that that right now people will forgive if you don't understand how to do a WebEx call or a Zoom call, or you kind of fumble around, right, with a client. Maybe you're doing a client call and you're trying to talk to them and you fumble around with your presentation. There's grace right now. If you fail to learn right now, and you 3 months from now you realize, hey, maybe I should figure out these skill sets. I don't want to say it's too late. The best day is to start then, but I'm telling you, you missed the boat and it's passed you by. And now you're trying to catch up along with learning the new technology. So right now is the time to engage, be a student, jump in there. And maybe that's the mindset too, right? Have that student mindset, constant learning, constant grabbing hold of what's out there and what's new and what can I try. We talked about R&D. Try those new things. Research and development. Try, fail, get through it, and figure out what works so that you can serve your clients and build your business.
I mean, it's so valid, Drew, and you brought so many emotions even for me as well. And one thing I want to say is, whenever we have a situation like this, a lot of people think that everybody has problems.
Yeah.
If you look at the businesses, 20 to 30% businesses are doing very, very well. Because there is a growth opportunity for them. If you look at anybody working in the PPE, for them it is huge business opportunity. And stuff, healthcare supporting everybody. All of these are huge businesses and huge opportunities. And there are some other people, even if you look at coaches and stuff, there are some coaches who are doing very, very comfortable. And stuff. But this is an opportunity for them to even think and reflect and see what they can learn from it. Because this is like a catalyst that is putting everybody off their rails. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. The successful companies will come back to the rails easy, but they can learn from it. So so far, knock on wood, my business has not been affected so much. I'm still sitting comfortably working my clients and stuff. I'm still busy working 50, 60 hours a week. But some of the learnings, just to add to your piece of it, I just wanted to share that piece of it is, I wish I had a good database of customers, a nice email marketing list to go back and interact with the customers. I should have done that 3-4 years ago. Like you said, I can't go back and do that. But you know what? I'm taking steps today so that in the next 1 year or 2 years, I have that. Because my business is still going, but it was almost like mostly word of mouth, customer to customer, and LinkedIn was my only channel of growth. But this told me that things like this happen. We need to be ready to go back and meet some of the other customers. So now I'm thinking of digital marketing. I'm thinking of my website. I'm thinking of a lot of other things. And the best day is today.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. What's the best day to plant a tree 20 years ago? What's the second best today, right? So starting today.
Exactly.
Raj, so any kind of parting thoughts or anything you want to share with us on adapting and our mindset before we go today?
So the first piece of it, again, going back to what I was saying, is the situation has happened. Now bring the clarity around the whole thing.
That's good.
What is that you need to do? Do we all know what is important right now? Do I know what is important for me? That is the first thing. The second part of it is, do I believe in the direction and the goals I have set? That is my second step. I really need to believe in that piece of it. Can I go back and look at the situation, look at the goals, and say, can I translate those things into action so that I can get closer to the goals? Because I don't want to say focus on the goals. I want the goals to be there, but there is a lot of uncertainty. So I would focus more on the direction towards the goal rather than the goal itself. If you're making progress, you're doing that. And the next part of it is, what are you doing to understand and eliminating the barriers for you to get there? So that is the reflection piece of it, thinking in the thought process, getting the right people into your group to even discuss and see if there are barriers to be removed. And the other piece of it is, are you working effectively to conserve your energy? Are you working with enough people to get the synergy of the group, the mastermind, the knowledge, so that you're not struggling by yourself versus bringing people here?
That's good.
And the last piece of it is, do you put some measures for yourself to keep track of it so that you know you're accountable and you're making progress?
That's great.
So these are the 6 things. If people start looking at it, they really, really can make progress towards the right direction and reach the right goal.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You gave us a list of 7 earlier. You gave us a list of 6 now. I mean, we are equipped. We have a roadmap. I love the checklist that I can go through, and I can just say, "Hey, have I done this? Have I done this step? Have I done this step?" And that is wonderful, Raj. So much value here today. We're gonna have to do it again.
Sure.
We're gonna close it down today. Shut down the stream. And then we are going to go live again next week. We're going to be talking about communicating with my good friend Bill Leckie. We're going to be talking about communicating through this new digital format. How do you successfully communicate on a platform like this effectively? And he's a 40-year public speaker, so he has a lot to say on the topic and really helped me out. So looking forward to that next week. Raj, thank you so much. Hey, everybody out there, we've got Raj's contact info below. We've got his social media, his LinkedIn, Facebook. We've got his business website. Connect with him there. Thank you for being in the chat. It's wonderful to see y'all, and I look forward to doing more chats like this, and we can get your questions. Hey, in the comments below, put any other questions. If you weren't able to be here live, put some questions that you have there in the comments, and I'm going to do this again with Raj, and we'll answer some other questions in the future. So, Raj, thank you so much for being willing to do this, taking your time to do this, and we will connect with you again.
Thank you, Drew. It was a pleasure. And everybody out there, feel free to contact me if I can be of help.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye.
If you found value from this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. To receive the free influence assessment, simply click on the link below that says Influence Assessment. If you have any questions or comments about influence, please comment below and I will look forward to connecting with you. Always remember, increase your influence, realize your dream.